how do I limit the literal damage that the man does? The man is highly damaging to our country. The only way I can do that is possibly debate somebody or discuss with them and tell them that he is severely damaging to our country. He is anti-constitutional. He is harmful for the United States of America.
I think you overplay that too.
Mr. Jared Kushner testifies in probe of Trump and the Jan 6 riots. So
Interesting.
why is this important? I think this is important because it's being led by the same special counsel that already charged him with crimes. Former President Donald Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, has appeared before a federal grand jury investigating Mr. Trump's efforts to overturn the 2020 election. A Justice
I've
Department
always hated
special
this fucking guy.
counsel. He's everything that capitalism has built.
Look at him. He looks like Mark Zuckerberg's long-lost clone.
He is a Zuck clone. That is probably true. We can find that out. He's a clone of Mark Zuckerberg. Mark Zuckerberg has little clones running around all over town. The Justice Department special counsel is investigating Mr. Trump's actions leading up to the 2021 Capitol riots. The grand jury asked Mr. Trump if Mr. Trump acknowledged at the time he lost the election. We don't know what Kushner has said, but we know what has been asked of him somehow. I think this is going to lead to more charges being brought against him. I think the special counsel is now working on this angle and will charge Trump with more crimes and arrest him again for other crimes.
I'd really like it if they would stop doing that, because every time they do it, his poll numbers go up.
Maybe. I mean, probably yes, but he has committed the crimes. If the DOJ has done an investigation and found that he did the crimes, they have to follow the rules, which is arrest him, arraign him, tell him the charges, allow his lawyers to see the stuff, and then bring him to trial. And if that makes his fans appreciate him more, then we just have to tell his fans that they're dumb. And then find, I don't know, legal ways to not allow him to run for president, maybe?
It's not going to happen. There are so few barriers to running for president. Once you clear the initial ones of being the correct age and being a natural-born citizen of the United States. After that, the only thing that can really get you prevent you from running for president is like if you're guilty of espionage against the United States. There are very, very few things that can actually disqualify you from running for president. It's not going to happen.
Isn't part of the charges against him in the Espionage Act or something like that?
It's been brought up. It's for the whole classified documents thing, but I don't think it'll be.
I don't think it'll be espionage either.
So. It'll be espionage. No,
yeah, I think
he won't. Yeah. None of that's going to disqualify him.
I think he kept those documents just because he wanted them and to show them off and win arguments, not to sell to Russia.
Which I think that they kicked around the idea of charging him under the Espionage Act, and then they didn't do it for that reason. Is because he would never be found guilty on espionage. But yeah, he's not going to be disqualified. So
Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, introduced in the wake of the Civil War, states that a person who engaged in insurrection or rebellion after taking the congressional oath should be prevented from running office again. So if this is applied to what Jared Kushner has been asked about, then by the 14th Amendment, he should be prevented from running for office again. I wonder if that's literally what it says within that Section 3 of the 14th Amendment.
Yeah, then you have to litigate the question of what does engaged mean, right? I mean, he wasn't there.
What does should mean?
Yeah. On January 6th, with a torch and pitchfork, breaking into government facilities, right? He was sitting in the Oval Office and eating a cheeseburger. Like he engaged is a question there where did he actually engage in insurrection or
Shall have
rebellion?
engaged insurrection or rebellion.
Yeah, I don't think
So
they'll find him guilty of that either.
you don't
They're
think that?
trying. They're trying really hard to find something that can disqualify him.
Hmm.
They're not going to. It's not going
You
to
don't think
happen.
so?
No.
If they ask Jared Kushner, did Trump know that he did not win and still say that he won, is that not within the insurrection or rebellion?
Nope.
It's not.
No. I mean,
In
that's
in private, he says to Jared Kushner, "Okay, we lost. What do we do now? How do we convince the people that we did actually win?" And then they create plans to sue and put up those fake documents that if Donald Trump knew the fake elector documents given to the government and he told people to do it, is he in breach of the 14th Amendment? Has he
no.
engaged in insurrection or rebellion?
It's a really dumb thing to do, but it's not engaging in insurrection or rebellion. No.
I think it is. I can't click on that. The fake electors plot. 7 key states to create and submit fraudulent certificates of ascertainment that falsely asserted Trump had won the Electoral College votes in that state.
Well,
These
again,
exist. They were
we
delivered.
okay. We
Now,
have words for this though, right?
uh-huh,
We have the word fraudulent, right?
uh-huh.
This is not the same thing as rebellion or insurrection. This is fraud. And I agree. This is really stupid to do. It's highly illegal. And
But you
you
don't think
know
it
as well as
raises
anybody
to
that
that
I don't
definition of
want
insurrection or
Trump.
rebellion. Okay.
Yes, no, it doesn't.
I know.
It doesn't meet the definition of insurrection or rebellion. It doesn't.
Okay.
Which means that he still gets to run. And please, please, can they stop with these lawsuits? Because every time they do it, he gets stronger.
What
I
do
don't
we
like
do
it.
then? He literally committed the crimes. What do we do? Ignore it?
He
Let it
was
go? Because it's political? It's political. You're allowed to do political crimes because in prosecuting them, it's a political prosecution. What do we do?
you let him lose first, is what you
We
do.
did that.
He was gonna lose in 2024. Well, you did. They did that, and then they waited too long. After Biden got into office, these things that are happening now should have happened the year after Biden got into office.
um, I mean, they put up
It's been
the
two and
special
a half,
counsel
3
pretty
years now.
quick. They put up the special counsel pretty quick. I mean,
At this point, you're giving him political steam. That's what this is doing. It's not going to disqualify him from running for president, and now he is gaining political momentum to the point where I'm losing hope that he will not be the Republican nominee. Uh, which is, I think, bad for everybody
but if he's found
because
guilty of these crimes, will he not be literally in some sort of confinement, whether it's house arrest or I don't. I very seriously doubt he'll get an orange jumpsuit, but found guilty of
okay, found guilty, and then
not the 14th Amendment thing, but of this fake electors
he's
plot.
placed in house
Of
arrest in the White House, where
no, he'll
he
be
is
placed in
in the Oval
house
Office.
arrest. Why would they place him in house arrest of the thing? They're gonna find. They're
In
gonna
the White House, where after he
wait.
wins in 2024,
No,
he's
that
now
these
on
trials are
house
going to
arrest in the
happen.
White House.
These trials are going to happen before the 24 election. There's already there's stuff happening this Tuesday, like 4 days from now. They're they're going to be in front of a judge, not for the full trial, but for like the first parts of the trial. And the Trump lawyers are pushing to have it go back and back and back and back and further back and further back and further back. And that's their obvious legal strategy. But Uh, but they are going to try to push it back so that he can win the election before the trial happens, and then replace the entire DOJ, and they'll just drop the case. That's their legal plan. But if he's found guilty of these things before the election happens, um, I think you're right that he could win. But if the court puts him at house arrest in Mar-a-Lago, he can't go do presidential stuff. I don't know. I guess he would put in a different DOJ. Yeah, you know what? That's what he would do. You're right. If he's guilty, house arrest Mar-a-Lago, then wins, he'll stay in Mar-a-Lago, replace the DOJ. The DOJ will say, oh, well, he's allowed to do this and that, and then he will go and do this and that. And then he will move to the White House because the DOJ will allow it. All right.
Fuck, I hate this.
Oh, yeah. I wish that pointing out the bad things that Trump does wouldn't empower his fans. I can't even comprehend it.
He
When you
does have
tell,
a certain rabid fan base. I've met a number of them.
hmm I know quite a
Uh,
few myself, and he's a blank slate to them. Whatever they believe, whatever that individual person says, thinks, and believes, is what they believe that Donald Trump believes. It's very interesting. Um, if
I could agree with that statement. Yeah,
yeah, a rabid Trump fan who thinks that Trump is anti-gay, it's not true, but they will believe it. It's very strange. They paint onto him what they think in their own heads.
that's correct. I actually
It's a thing that happened with
I
Obama
will
as
say
well.
that that
I,
happens in both directions too.
yeah,
Is all
it
the people that
definitely.
hate Trump
Hmm
have the same thing. All the things they hate, they project onto Trump.
hmm
He's a blank slate for them too.
He's a blank slate for hatred. Okay, yeah,
Um,
I could see that.
so like anybody, half the people on the left think that Trump is anti-gay.
I don't think he is. I think he doesn't care so much.
Right,
Uh,
but every time that someone describes Trump with all of the isms um and the phobics,
hmm
it's always homophobic that's included in there.
hmm
It's not true, but
I mean, he's
yes,
from.
he's a blank slate on both sides for
Hmm
whether you really like him or really hate him.
Yeah. Uh,
For a number of people, I think
I mean,
he's a sounding board.
he pushed the trans ban in the military, but I think that is because the Republicans told him to. You know, I think he might actually be more of a blank slate in his own mind than a lot of people think he is as well. I think somebody pushed him to do that trans ban thing, and then he did it, and then got some blowback and got some attention. And I think it was a couple of weeks ago, but he mentioned it during a speech. He was like, this trans issue, nobody knew about it a few years ago, but now it's all a big deal because he didn't know about it. He didn't care. He doesn't have a stance. I mean, he was pro-abortion, and now he's against it because they tell him not to. His misspeak on the Second Amendment uh, is still one of my favorites, uh, where he talked about taking the guns, and then 5 seconds later, his wranglers wrangled him in there and said, "No, no, no, you can't say that, you can't say that, you can't say that." Um, then it's because he doesn't actually have positions. He doesn't have hard uh, policy stances. He does what he thinks is best in the moment to get tomorrow's headline. I think beyond tomorrow's Twitter post or tomorrow's New York Times headline, he is blind.
I don't want him to be the nominee this year. So or
Neither
next
do
year
I.
that is. So I'm still hoping for DeSantis. The picture gets bleaker every time there's a new um, case brought against Trump.
Hmm
Somehow, I see. Well, in the meantime, I would like to ask in our chat, Killer Mech, why he thinks I hate justice.
I didn't see that. Let me. Why you hate justice? Oh my gosh. Why does Thomas hate
if
justice?
he's still
Oh
around.
yeah, I don't know. Why you hate justice? Why you hate justice, Thomas?
I think out of everybody, you should know I love justice.
I think you love justice too much.
Probably too much.
um, dang, I can't find that thing I was looking for. It was about the
I just don't like it when justice results in Donald Trump being my fucking party's nominee.
yeah, I mean, but that's a political decision, not a justice decision, right? If if uh, Trump did a thing, we know he did the thing, we have the evidence that he did the thing, it's a crime, we prosecute him, and then more people vote for him. That's not a flaw of our justice system. It's a flaw of our
You're right.
people.
You're right.
Um, how do we change those people's opinion? How do we make them not in love with a person who is an actual criminal? I don't know. I think that's an education thing maybe, but then that gets us into a whole different topic of education and political comprehension and things like that.
Ah, there it is. Killer Mike
Mainstream.
responded.
All right,
My
what's he got
quote
to say?
with
Don't indict Trump because it will make
a
him more
pseudo
powerful.
quote is making Trump more powerful a punishment or a reward for his crimes?
Now, this is what I was talking about. I think you're obsessed with punishments. I think you think about them a bit too much. You put too much power in the punishment thing. Um, I think if the DOJ is uh, working appropriately, then it must investigate him and it must charge him.
That's correct.
And if and like I said, if his fans love the fact that he commits crimes and talk about how it's a broken system and not working, then it could be a reward for him to commit those crimes.
I
And the,
see. So what you're saying is that because I'm focused on a system of punishment and reward as opposed to our systems,
Mhm.
um, that's why I don't like the indictments. And actually, I'll say, yeah, that's probably accurate. I don't like that in this case, our system's functioning is resulting in uh, essentially a reward for the guy that committed the crimes, if indeed he did commit them. Um, that really
that's not
fucking
the
annoys me.
that's not the system that's giving him a benefit. It's the people of the country that are giving him that benefit. If the system uh, somehow rewarded him for breaking the law, then that's a bad thing. If the people reward him for breaking the law, then the people ought to be chastised and insulted. If you like Donald Trump, I think you're dumb. See? I just did it.
That's fine.
And that is, again, me being a person, gets to talk, use my free speech to suggest that the people who do like Donald Trump are dumb.
Except for the part where you then insulting them also rallies them
I know.
against your side.
I know.
And then suddenly you have Donald Trump as president again.
I don't know what to do about that because I think it's a true statement that if you like Donald Trump and you think that he is best for the country to be president, I think you're dumb. There's nothing I can do about that. That is a true statement. Do I have to say it? No. But how do I limit the literal damage that the man does? The man is highly damaging to our country. The only way I can do that is possibly debate somebody or discuss with them and tell them that he is severely damaging to our country. He is anti-constitutional. He is harmful for the United States of America.
I think you overplay that too. Um, I don't think that he is all that you're describing. I don't want him as president because I didn't like his handling of the presidency.
Hmm.
I don't think he's constitutionally damaging. I don't think that he's fundamentally disastrous for the country. Um, I do think that he was not a good president. So
I
I
think
don't want him to be the
mhm.
president again.
I recognize that he didn't do all that much, but that's because the Republicans and the Democrats both stood in his way. A president doesn't just get to make all the things that he says happen. But
That's
if
correct. Yeah.
if the
Well,
things
he
he
wasn't a good
said,
president because he wasn't able to get things done.
mhm,
Right.
I can agree to that.
I mean,
That is one criteria that I would agree with you on. He didn't get the things done that he said he would do.
yeah,
Uh,
which is a big reason why I like DeSantis because he
mhm,
does the things that he says he's going to do.
right, and I think the things that he says he's going to do are monstrous and terrible.
Okay, yeah,
The
you
same
can
can be said
hate
of
that.
Trump. The same can be said of Trump. The things he was going to do, if he got to do the things he said he wanted to do, and when he voiced his opinions, they sounded to me like actual fascism, and I don't want that. So when he doesn't get what he wants, that
What sounded like actual fascism, fascism,
most of the things that Trump talks about.
such as,
You want me to bring up the list? We could.
oh
I think
Christ,
that might actually be a different subject for next week or something like that. But there are 14 points of fascism, and I think Donald Trump ticks damn near all of them. I think, honestly, what's his name? Uh, DeSantis ticks all of them as well, but uh, with less evidence and less tweets because he has been on the screen less time, if that makes sense. DeSantis has had less screen time than Trump, so there are less evidence and news stories that I can point to that suggest he is actually falling within these 14 points of fascism. You want to talk about that next week? We can almost
maybe.
uh, tease that. Oh, hi. Thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. If you liked what you saw, hit the like button, press the subscribe button. Uh, if you want to tell me how right I am, feel free to leave a comment. If you want to tell me how wrong I am, leave a comment too. That's good. Um, this is just kind of a hobby for me, so I appreciate you coming by, giving it a watch, and pressing the YouTube buttons. Thanks.